The little girl and the lonely CEO. The snow fell gently on Christmas Eve, each flake catching the warm glow of the street lamps that lined the quiet avenue. The city had grown peaceful as families gathered in their homes, sharing meals and laughter behind frosted windows. But on a wooden bench outside the old bakery, a man sat alone. Marcus Thompson adjusted his gray wool scarf and pulled his dark coat tighter against the cold. At 38, he was one of the city's most successful business owners, running a company that employed hundreds of people. His office walls were covered with awards and certificates. His bank account held more money than most people could spend in a lifetime. Yet tonight, as he watched families hurry past with their arms full of presents, he felt emptier than ever. The bench had become his refuge over the past few months. After long days at the office, Marcus would find himself here, watching the world go by. He told himself it was just a place to think, to clear his head before going home to his silent apartment. But deep down, he knew the truth. This bench had become the only place where he didn't have to pretend everything was fine. The bakery behind him had closed hours ago, but the windows still glowed with warm light, displaying rows of gingerbread houses and sugar cookies shaped like stars. The sweet smell of cinnamon and vanilla drifted through the air, mixing with the crisp scent of winter snow. Marcus breathed it in slowly, remembering Christmas mornings from his childhood, when his grandmother would fill the kitchen with the same magical aromas. Those memories felt like they belonged to someone else now. His grandmother had been gone for 15 years. His parents lived across the country and rarely called. The few friends he'd had in college had drifted away as work consumed more and more of his time. Success, he had learned, could be the loneliest achievement of all. A soft giggle broke through his thoughts. Marcus looked up to see a little girl walking hand in hand with a woman who was clearly her mother. The child couldn't have been more than 5 years old, with golden curls peeking out from under a pink knitted hat. She wore a light blue cardigan over a rose-colored dress that twirled as she walked. Her small boots made tiny prints in the fresh snow. "Look, Mommy," the little girl said, pointing at the bakery window. "The gingerbread family has a Christmas tree just like ours." Her mother smiled and squeezed her hand. "Yes, sweetheart. They do look happy together, don't they?" The little girl nodded enthusiastically, then noticed Marcus sitting on the bench. While her mother paused to look at her phone, checking for messages, the child took a few steps toward him. She tilted her head to one side, studying his face with the curious intensity that only children possess. "Are you waiting for someone?" she asked, her voice soft but clear. Marcus was surprised by the directness of her question. Most adults walked past without even noticing him. "No," he said quietly, "I'm just sitting here." "On Christmas Eve?" The little girl's eyes widened. "Don't you have a family to be with?" The question hit Marcus harder than he expected. He looked away for a moment, watching the snow continue to fall. "Not really," he admitted. The child considered this with the serious expression of someone much older. She glanced back at her mother, who was still busy with her phone, then took another step closer to Marcus. "That makes me sad," she said simply. "Everyone should have a family, especially on Christmas." Marcus felt something stir in his chest, a warmth he hadn't experienced in a long time. "That's very kind of you to say." The little girl was quiet for a moment, her breath creating small clouds in the cold air. Then she looked up at him with bright, determined eyes. "You know what?" she said, reaching out to gently touch his gloved hand. "You can be in our family if you want." Marcus stared at her in amazement. This child, who didn't even know his name, was offering him something that all his money and success couldn't buy. The simple, pure generosity of her invitation left him speechless. "I mean it," the little girl continued, her voice earnest. "We're having Christmas dinner tomorrow, and Mommy always makes too much food anyway. She says it's because Grandma taught her to cook for an army. And we have extra presents under the tree because Santa wasn't sure what I wanted, so he brought lots of things." "Emma, sweetie, who are you talking to?" Her mother had finished with her phone and was walking over, a look of gentle concern on her face. "This is my new friend," Emma announced proudly. "He doesn't have a family for Christmas, so I told him he could be in ours." Marcus stood up from the bench, suddenly feeling awkward. "I'm sorry," he said to Emma's mother. "I didn't mean to bother you." "Your daughter is incredibly kind, but I couldn't possibly—" "Why not?" Emma's mother interrupted, and Marcus was surprised to see warmth in her eyes rather than suspicion. "I'm Sarah, by the way. And Emma's right, I do always make too much." Food. Marcus felt the ground shifting beneath him, as if the world was rearranging itself around this moment. "I'm Marcus," he managed to say. "Well, Marcus," Sarah said, smiling, "if you don't have plans tomorrow, you're welcome to join us. Emma's grandmother will be there and my brother and his family. We're not fancy, but we're loud and we laugh a lot, and there's always room for one more." Emma clapped her hands together, her face glowing with joy. "See, I told you. Families help each other, and now you're helping us by letting us help you." Marcus felt tears gathering in his eyes, something that hadn't happened in years. This little girl, with her pure heart and boundless generosity, had just offered him the very thing he'd been searching for without even realizing it. "I would be honored," he said softly, his voice thick with emotion. Emma reached up and took his hand, her small fingers warm even through their gloves. "Good," she said with satisfaction. "Now you won't be lonely anymore, and we'll have an even bigger family." As they stood there in the falling snow, with the warm light from the bakery window casting a golden glow around them, Marcus realized that sometimes the most profound gifts come from the most unexpected places. A successful CEO had been taught about true wealth by a 5-year-old girl who understood that the richest families are those who open their hearts to others. The snow continued to fall, but Marcus no longer felt cold. For the first time in years, he was going home for Christmas.